Hey guys, it's Jimmy from over at Movie Death Blows. This is going to be our first video we've made, probably the last week and a half, 2 weeks. With everything going on, I didn't think it was appropriate for just to for us to put out new content or anything like that. With everything that's been going on, with the protest and the George Floyd murder and the police brutality that we've seen nationwide, I've made my thoughts known on the issue. Obviously, some people on Twitter weren't happy with it. I think I lost probably between like 1,500 and 1,000 followers, but it is what it is. I don't have any issues with it. I don't have any qualms about it. I said what I said. I mean what I said. They can disagree. If they choose to unfollow, they choose to unfollow. We'll replace them with better people down the line, I guess. Today, I wanted to get in some of the Warner Brothers release dates that we've seen move back that came out yesterday from them. So, The Witches, which was supposed to be released in October 9th of 2020, so in like 4 months, that got pushed back to 2021. We don't have a release date on that. That's going to be a remake of that movie from the 90s with Angelica Houston and Rowan Atkinson, I think, was in that for a little bit, where, the witches are taking over and they turn the kids into mice. I used to watch it all the time. My mom's actually a huge fan of The Witches. But that's actually directed by Robert Zemeckis. You obviously know from Back to the Future fame, Forrest Gump. Anne Hathaway was going to be in that one. Octavia Spencer, Stanley Tucci, Chris Rock. So, it's going to be... that's one that I didn't really have high hopes for because I'm such a fan of the first one. But, it is what it is. And with everything going on with COVID-19 and the theaters not being open, we're going to have to move those dates. Okay. Another one that's got a big impact for me is Godzilla vs. Kong. Is moving back from November of 2020 to May of 2021. Now, it's a movie I've been excited for a while, since Kong Skull Island, since Godzilla King of the Monsters. Like, this is stuff that I'm pretty interested in, and I want to know where they're going with it. And for a movie that's going to be released in November of this year, supposedly, we haven't even gotten a poster, a teaser, a trailer, anything from it. I'm sure we would have gotten to see something at Comic-Con in July if it was taking place. Maybe we still will. I know they're doing theirs online virtually now. But the fact that you have this big movie is going to come out in November, and you don't see anything from it, that leads me to think that they're having a lot of problems either with marketing or with the movie itself, and I'm not sure how that's going to go. There is a Tom and Jerry movie that was supposed to come out around Christmas of this year. December 23rd of 2020. That's going to now move back to March 5th of 2021. So, only 3 months. Not that big of a deal, but, I didn't really have any... I'm not a kid. I'm sure I would have seen it at some point. But that's not really that big of a deal to me. A one that's a bigger deal is the Matrix, the fourth Matrix movie that was announced to come out in May of 2021 has now moved back an entire almost a year, 11 months, until April 4th, or April 1st of 2022. I don't know why you would release a Matrix movie on April Fool's Day, but, let them roll with what they want to roll with. That's something I know everybody's going to want to see, and we're all interested in where this story is going to go, because, I'm a huge fan of the first Matrix movie, don't get me wrong. I love The Matrix. I'm even a big fan of The Matrix Reloaded. That's a solid movie. The issue comes when you're dealing with the third one, and you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on in this movie. The Matrix Revolutions is just like a smorgasbord of nonsense, and there's no clear definitions of what actually happened, and how is Neo using his powers outside of the Matrix. It doesn't... There was never really for me something I understood about what they were doing. Okay, So Neo is the one inside the Matrix, but now he can also be the one outside of the Matrix. And then he plugs himself into Machine City, and then Smith absorbs him, and then the Matrix absorbs Smith. Okay, and you got that Dragon Ball Z ripoff fight that they did at the end, which I have no problem with. I had no issue at all with the fight. The fight looked awesome. Obviously, Dragon Ball Z did it better. And the CGI they used in 2003 when this movie came out was not the greatest. I mean, the fight in the rain is still pretty cool. And I just remember that stupid thing at the end where Agent Smith like looks at him, he's like, everything that has a beginning has an end, Neo. And you're like, oh, okay.
Wait. I've seen this. This is it. This is the end. Yes. You were laying right there, just like that. I stand here, right here, and I'm supposed to say something. I say, everything that has a beginning has an end, Neo. What did I just say?
And then the chick that the little girl that the Oracle was with, was just like, are we going to see him again? Yeah, I think so. Well, how? I don't understand. But sure, whatever they wanted to do, the Matrix Revolutions happened. That's what I say. Matrix and Matrix Reloaded were awesome, and the Matrix Revolution was just there. It was just a thing. More news we got from Warner Brothers. Wonder Woman 1984 has been delayed again. Patty Jenkins confirmed that on Twitter yesterday. So it looks like we won't be seeing Wonder Woman hit theaters until October of 2020. So almost 4 months from now. It was supposed to come out the other day. I was supposed to go to the press screening for it. It's Wonder Woman. When I think about DC and the DCEU, Wonder Woman was their first great movie. Their first one that they actually hit on. Anytime when I talk about Wonder Woman, the first movie, I say, when I compare it to the other ones, I say, this is what Man of Steel should have been. This is everything that Zack Snyder's Man of Steel should have been. It's got heart to it. That scene where she walks from no man's land, from the Allied side to the German line, and just runs across it is incredible.
This is no man's land, Diana. It means no man can cross it, all right? This battalion has been here for nearly a year, and they barely gained an inch. All right, because on the other side, there are a bunch of Germans pointing machine guns at every square inch of this place. This is not something you can cross. It's not possible.
So what? So we do nothing?
No, we are doing something. We are. We can't save everyone in this war. This is not what we came here to do.
No, but it's what I'm going to do.
or see anywhere else. You know, it's just a heartwarming tale about a hero who's finding her footing. And that's the way Patty Jenkins did it. And, you know, I don't have a problem with the way Zack decided to do Man of Steel. I just thought it was too dark and murky and brooding all the time. Like, Superman isn't Batman. He doesn't need, like, this dark origin story. I mean, the shots they did on Krypton were awesome. But it just felt like it was missing something. Like, I don't even have a problem with all the destruction that was going on in downtown Smallville. I mean, you got Superman battling Zod. You know, shit's going to blow up, obviously. But I just think that Gal Gadot, Patty Jenkins, and Wonder Woman is the heart and soul of the DC EU at the moment. So we'll see that movie coming in October 2nd of 2020, Wonder Woman 1984. The other big news is that Tenet, the Christopher Nolan movie, Tenet, has been delayed until July 30th or 31st of 2020. So, I mean, it's not that big of a delay. They're pushing it back 2 weeks. But I think they said they're also re-releasing Inception into theaters. I don't know if that's to coincide with the release of Tenet or if it's like a secret sequel or prequel or something along those lines. But, I mean, it's a Christopher Nolan movie, obviously. So, I mean, I don't know if they want to give people like a lead-in to Tenet when it comes out. But, I mean, Inception's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. Christopher Nolan is a genius at the stuff that he does. I mean, for me, he's probably the best. I mean, when I think about it, when I break it up, the 70s and 80s are, you know, Spielberg, Coppola, Scorsese, Lucas. You know, the 90s. I mean, they kind of, from the 70s into the 90s, they kind of ruled that show. And when you think of, like, my generation, so I'm born in 1986. You know, I mean, I've seen a bunch of movies in my time before I became, like, of age to understand a lot of them. But when I think about the directors from my generation, Christopher Nolan's probably the best visionary director we have. No, I mean, I'm not saying we're the same age, but that, like, I grew up with, like, you know, I was alive when their movies came out. I could, you know, retain all of it. I mean, the first Nolan movie I saw was Insomnia. And ever since then, with Insomnia with Pacino and Robin Williams, and ever since then I was hooked. You know, anything from Memento to Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Interstellar, all this stuff is great filmmaking. And when I say Christopher Nolan is probably The Prestige, too. I mean, The Prestige is probably my second favorite of his movies that's not a Batman movie. I just ranked them differently. I don't know why. But when I think about it, Christopher Nolan's probably the best visionary director we've had, someone whose legacy will stand the test of time. You know, when I think of, you know, George Lucas and Coppola and the stuff that they were able to do in the 70s with The Godfather and Apocalypse Now and Star Wars and Indiana Jones with Spielberg, like, this is something that you're going to, you know, these movies are going to be in the Library of Congress for a long time. And that's because Christopher Nolan is the genius that he is. So that movie got moved to the 30th. Tenet is one of the movies I've been waiting to see since its inception, since we've heard about it at least. Because, you know, you're like, oh, John David Washington and Robert Pattinson are in this movie, but nobody knows what it's about. And you saw the first teaser for it, and I was like, I have no idea what just happened. And I saw the first trailer for it, and I said, I still have no idea what happened. Then I saw the first full trailer for it, and I still have less of an idea of what's actually happening. So let me just double check the release date on Tenet. So it was supposed to be released July 17th of 2020. And now it looks like... Okay, so Tenet is scheduled to be released by Warner Brothers on July 31st, 2020. So they moved it back 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens then. I know Mulan is still scheduled by Disney for July 27th. I don't know if that date will hold with everything going on. I mean, I know theaters have just said they're going to start to reopen in the next couple weeks. We, as members of the press, haven't gotten any inclination or any messages from the people we deal with from the studio how we're supposed to go forward at this point. I did send an email to some of my contacts, and they were like, well, you know, we're waiting for a go-ahead from the theater. We're waiting to hear from information from the studios about how they want to handle this. I don't know. So when you go to a press screening, I don't know if it's going to be open to the public anymore, if it's just going to be strictly media to keep down on the amount of people in the theater. So when I go to a media screening, there's, you know, press seating. You go in the first, second, third row. You know, it's usually all press or media members from that area. and everything else is just they fill the theater with radio contest winners and, you know, film society people. I don't know if they're going to start letting them in or not. I think for the time being they might just do strictly media screenings, what they have done in the past, or, you know, they didn't want word of mouth getting out there, and they know that we'll follow the coverage deadline. So like when we'll go see a movie and they'll be like, well, there's an embargo on this until, if you see it on Monday, there's an embargo until Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern or Pacific Standard Time, and you know you can't say anything about it. You can't write your reviews. You can't do your videos that way until it all comes out. So I mean, we're still trying to put this all together. I don't know what the end result is going to be. When I know, you guys will know. I'll make sure I post it on there if I'm going to see something. But that's where we are right now. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm going to try to put out another video this week, maybe today or tomorrow, about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. rewatch that I've been doing. I rewatched seasons 1 through 6 in like a 3-week span, so I'm going to try to do another one on that. All right? Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page for the notifications. So follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube page. There's going to be more stuff coming out. All right, thanks, guys.